Welcome to Front Runner Motorsport.
So this is the 8th episode of Formula 1 Underrated, where we take a look at the careers of drivers who may not have got the praise they should have during their careers. This one is a little different though, as we are looking at two current drivers and comparing their careers to see who is the most underrated. So let's take a look at Nico Hulkenberg and Sergio Perez to see who is the less good, I guess. This might have been a bad idea.
Massa, Raikkonen, Stroll, le prime 10 posizioni sull'immagine incidente. Vi salutiamo. E torniamo invece a occuparci di questi ultimi 10.
So first, let's take a look at the careers before Formula 1. Sergio Perez doesn't have much to shout about. The only thing he has ever won is the national class of the British Formula 3 Championship. In fact, he's only ever won 11 races outright. His best pre-Formula 1 season was 2010, when he came second in GP2 to Pastor Maldonado. Well, that's embarrassing. Nico Hulkenberg, in comparison, is basically a god, winning Formula BMW ADAC, A1 Grand Prix, Masters of F3, Formula 3 Euro Series, and the GP2 Series in 2009. Also, he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2015 for Porsche. Stats like that should make him a true star, and he has never even had a podium in Formula 1.
Look at that, Hulkenberg right on Hamilton.
He is. Hamilton slowed by the back markers. He locks up. Hulkenberg might just go through here and back up into the lead. No, they've touched! And Hamilton and Hulkenberg come together. Damage for Hamilton and Hulkenberg. And the back markers getting in the way and seemingly ruining the afternoon for Hulkenberg and Hamilton as Button goes through.
And Alonso into World Championship taking position then.
Unbelievable.
Now on to Formula 1. Nico Hulkenberg's debut season was with Williams in 2010, and he had a decent, if not spectacular, year. As teammate of Barrichello, he couldn't get near the Brazilian, for best 6th at Hungary, but he somehow managed to get pole in Brazil towards the end of the year. He failed to impress enough to get a seat in 2011, and so sat on the sidelines for a year. But in 2011, Sergio Perez would make his debut with the Sauber team. But after a massive crash in Monaco, he'd miss one race due to injury, replaced by Pedro de la Rosa. The rest of the season was tricky, normally behind teammate Kobayashi and a best 7th in Silverstone.
I'll tell you what Maldonado could have done watching that. He could have put an awful lot more steering angle in.
Yeah. Perez was ahead, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was ahead. You're always going to understeer through the apex there. There's not a lot of point in pinching somebody in that's coming.
Sergio Perez remained at Sauber for 2012, whilst Nico Hulkenberg would join Force India, with whom he tested the previous year. Sergio Perez would manage to get 3 podiums, and if not for a mistake in Malaysia, he might have won that race. But would still get a best 2nd position and beat teammate Kobayashi in the final standings. Hulkenberg will get a best 4th at Spa and a competitive year all round, finishing way ahead of teammate Paul di Resta and only 3 points behind Sergio Perez. For 2013, Sergio Perez got a big opportunity with a major team, switching to the McLarens and getting his place on Tuned. It did not go well. Joining McLaren when they were beginning to slide and replacing Hamilton, he would score points but finish 11th in the final standings, 2 points behind Nico Hulkenberg, who had replaced Perez at Sauber. That has got to hurt.
Inside, Hamilton on the outside, but look back, locking up of brakes from Fiat and Ricciardo. Then Hulkenberg spun on the curve. Verstappen had to take evasive action, and Ericsson ran into the Force India.
The pair then ended up as teammates at Force India in 2014. Nico Hulkenberg scored points at nearly every round, but only finished 1 place above Perez again, who scored the team's only podium of the year. They both had a strong year though, and Nico Hulkenberg finished with 37 more points than Perez. They both remained at Force India for 2015, but this time Perez finished 1 place above Hulkenberg with a 20-point gap. It was the 4th year in a row that the pair had finished next to each other in the final point standings, and again in 2016, but this time Perez would finish up in 7th and Hulkenberg 9th. The main thing to take away from this, though, is that the pair of them are very consistent, scoring points regularly, but never troubling the top step. And in Hulkenberg's case, never troubling the podium places.
Yeah, so high speed over the curb, like we thought. Car gets beat. Oh, and the suspension looks like something bent on the right rear.
Yeah, you saw the sparks, didn't you?
Watch out for the right rear. So as the car comes towards you, it's just hidden by the view there. But the wheel is already. It looks like the wheel is already at a funny angle.
And it's almost like he's hit a rut or something.
I think it then goes over on the wheel that was already
yeah, you could be
already
right.
up. So and that's the shot we got initially.
Yes, look, look how the right wheel there was actually off the ground a little bit and then isn't moving.
And that's what I looked for as the car went over. Just the fact his head didn't touch the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what.
As 2017 rolled around, the dynamic duo split up. Perez stayed with Force India, joined by Esteban Ocon, and Hulkenberg took his first season for Renault, with Jolyon Palmer and later Carlos Sainz Jr. Sergio Perez had probably his most impressive year in Formula 1, scoring points at every round except 3 and ending on 100 points. Whilst Hulkenberg struggled to get used to the new Renault and would struggle with reliability and pace in the midfield, ending the season 10th in the final standings with just 43 points. That being said, when he scored points, he was usually the best of the rest, getting 4 6th places. Remaining at the same teams for 2018, the pair are back to finishing next to each other in the final standings, with Hulkenberg 7th and Perez 8th. Just 7 points between them, with Hulkenberg being more consistent and Perez getting a podium at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It has to be said, Sergio Perez's performances improved for a bit after Force India lost Vijay Mallya and gained Lawrence Stroll as team boss. So on to this year, and Racing Point hasn't really worked out for Sergio Perez. He's currently 16th and behind teammate Lawrence Stroll, which must really suck. Hulkenberg isn't doing much better, in 14th place and making a lot of mistakes so far this year. As 2019 rolls on, it can only get better for the pair. It sure as hell can't get much worse. So, who out of Nico Hulkenberg and Sergio Perez is better? Well, it's very hard to say. They are very evenly matched. They finished next to each other in the final standings 5 times. They both have entered the same number of races, and in that time, Sergio Perez has scored only 50 more points than Hulkenberg, but has 8 podiums to Hulkenberg's big fat 0. But unlike Perez, Hulkenberg has started from pole, which is impressive. I think sadly their time has passed. They are unlikely to get a top drive now, and my only hope is that Hulkenberg can get at least 1 podium before he retires. These are 2 of the most consistent drivers in the last decade. So who's better? I couldn't say, but what I can say is they are both truly underrated.
What people is doing. Yeah, that's what he does always. I always have to look at other people's. He looks at my data and there he goes. That's him.
And then you do it better. I'm done, but I'm facing the other way around,
It looks like Godzilla.
Ta-da!
Well, there it is. 1 simple swan and 1, Checo.
A Mexican jet fighter this is.
And I honestly say that yours is better than his.
If you consider the time, I'm always onto the watch,
So that's the video. Let me know your thoughts on the pair in the comments below. Join the now 6 subscribers and become a keystone in the future Frontrunner Motorsport community. And like the video if you really want to. I really appreciate the support. Enjoy your motor racing, and have a good one.